Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our panel discussion about exploring technological advancements in events.
I'm Nora from BFairs, and today we have a panel of seasoned event planning professionals who stand at the forefront of integrating event technology into their events.
So thank you very much, gentlemen. If you could shortly introduce yourselves and maybe tell us a little bit more about your experience.
So I'm Sujoy, and been in the industry for over 20 years, headquartered in Dubai, and then grown over the 2 decades across the globe with 3 major verticals in events, technology, and content.
Thank you. What are some of the most impressive or important technological advancements that are shaping the events industry in the recent years?
There's so much more in the industry. Talking about hybrid events, I think robotics, those are all game changers in the way hardware has evolved. And I think it's so dependent, besides hardware evolution, also the softwares that drive content that make things work seamlessly. And then the integration of other dependencies, like for example, we are today in a world of 5G, but we really don't experience 5G at its full capacity because of the different areas where your cell phone towers are, how many people are within the event. All of that changes the experience. So I think one of the things is there. I mean, it's us who can contribute to the development of the interfaces, the APIs that make things work very seamlessly within events, that automate the whole process, right? Today we're still walking around with badges. How can we change that, right?
Yeah.
I was just having, Miguel's colleague, Ruslan, showing me hanging his phone upside down instead of the badge. He had his phone upside down with a QR code. I mean, that's a cool idea, but of course, nobody would want to be hanging their phone. So what could be the next thing possible? If we can have, NFCs, which in some way notify us, like I walk up to you, my watch tells me, okay, that's Laura.
Yep.
It's possible. Yeah. The technology today is there to make that possible through, near field communication. So it's about what we incorporate into, making the event seamless is what really matters, because why are we here at an event? It's about what technology is there that seamlessly allows me to take back information. What
agree.
Tech is available, and it's all there, but what is it that I can take back and then process, and then be able to, make my time at this event valuable, and give longevity to, the content. How do we take it back? There's so much more out there, I think, in tech.
Correct. I think this was spot on, and just adding on to this, what would you gentlemen advise to event organizers? How should they choose the technology for their event amongst everything that is out there?
Right, so I think when you talk about tech, right, I mean, you have almost everybody and their grandmother calling themselves as, all-in-one event tech platform, right? So you really need to dig into what does that mean, right? You split that into in-person event tech, into virtual event tech, right? And then you see how strong are these vendors in these individually, right? If you talk about in-person event tech, you want to see, how advanced is their check-in system? How advanced is their marketing system, right? Is it just email? Do they have WhatsApp? Do they have SMS? Do they have, say, AI-based networking that is there? And when it comes to, say, virtual, right, are these guys just doing webinars and 2D sort of a thing and then calling it a virtual event, or do they actually have a VR-like experience, right? So that's on the feature side, right? But few other things that are important are, say, in terms of security, right? When you do these large corporate events, government events, you need compliance, your ISO 271, 27701 and all of that. You need to read the fine print, because you'll be surprised, some of the largest players, if you go to their security page and you check what compliance they have, they say we use AWS servers and AWS is ISO certified. You'll be surprised at some of the largest players, right? So you need to read the fine print there, and then you also need to see if the system is scalable, right? Have these guys done events with thousands of people? Because everyone can build an MVP that has all the features, but for it to actually work in a large event is a whole different thing altogether.
Correct. For me, the big thing is, with events, is always define who your audience is. Once you define the audience, then you're going to define what tech you're going to use with them. Because it's pointless me going to guys that are between 13 and 25 and trying to use the same tech that we're trying to use between 25 and 40s. So it's first define your audience. Once you've got your audience, then you define the technology that makes their lives accessible, or that they're accessible to and that they understand. It's pointless us trying to throw all the new technology at everyone because it's a new in thing when the people don't know how to use it. So that's my biggest thing.
Past few years, the designs and the organizers, they were driving the technology in the events. But now there's a change, there's a transformation. Now the technology is going to drive the event industry. It's not the event organizers, and designs will be based on the technology and the touch points which are there. So touch points, when I say, is the first touch point when someone is entering inside the event, how the access is there, and then what kind of engagements are there. So everything will be done based on the technology. That's the transformation which will happen.
I agree. I agree.
I think there's a major element of the human factor here.
Yeah.
You don't forget that in the event industry. I always believe in asking clients, what is your end user experience? Because you don't design an event based on an individual. You have to cater to the masses, right? Even if it's a
Exactly.
100 packs event or a 10,000 or a 100,000 packs, you have to cater to the masses. So when you cater to the masses, the majority of them would be of an average, genre, right? Depending on if it's a sports event, what's it going to be like? If it's you're catering to the youth or you're catering to, I don't know, the medical science sector. So if it's corporate events, but it's all about the seamless integration. So if tech is driving the event, you have to make sure that that tech is suitable for the user, because there's no point if the technology is not consumed.
Correct.
Exactly.
And there has to be that balance between the consumer, the infrastructure, and the engagement, right? That's why did Apple launch their mixed reality headset now? If there are 5,000 patents on that technology, this work has started 10 years ago,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? So why did they launch it now? Because they let all the other fools play their game and test the market. All the guinea pig work was over, and then they came out, bang, here's what we'll do different, and offer something that's never seen before, right? That's then when tech would obviously be a game changer, when you have a brand like that, which has access to millions of users in one spot. Of course, the adaptation rate is going to be slow because of the price point. Not everyone here is going to spend 13,000 dirhams for a headset and say, okay, with my next mobile phone, I buy a headset, right? So it's about the adaptation rate as well. So technology adaptation is a key aspect of how soon you could be deploying that in an event.
How to make lives and experiences easier.
Yeah.
And just before we start with the questions from the audience, I'm sure we have quite a few. One last question from my side. What does the future hold? How do you see technological advancements in the next 5-10 years? With
For me,
AI,
I
what
can't
do you
answer that
think
because
of?
it changes so quickly at the
Yeah.
moment. We're going down one path and then there's 10 more that come in front of us. So whatever it is, for me, I'm super excited about it. I'm loving the whole thing. I'm waiting for the Neuralinks to come in and get the implants and all that stuff. So that's coming soon. But I don't know, that's also like very advanced. So we'll see how that all comes. But
I think when you say future, how far the future are you talking about? Talking about 20 years, 30 years?
5, 10.
10 years, everything changes, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that then get integrated into the experience. Now imagine we are today in autonomous driving level 1, right? Where it's self-assisted driving, but you could go on a highway and say autopilot, and your Tesla takes you from point A to point B, but you need to be alert. But level 4 is going to be fully autonomous. Level 5 is going to be no steering wheel.
yeah.
So 25 years from now, you can have a VIP experience where a vehicle goes and picks him up, brings him to the venue, and then there's, I don't know, a droid that welcomes him, and then you have information way in advance before they've arrived. You can create a whole experience which can never be done right now until that technology is out there, right? So it depends, how far in the future are we looking at things. But yeah, I'm excited about the future, and I wish I lived to see it.
To add to that, right, I mean, I think we have beaten this enough, but I don't think we have beaten it enough, right? We have beaten it a lot, but it's probably AI, right? Because people have actually been talking about AI for the last 10 years, right? But I think we have kind of reached that tipping point in terms of quality of output that you see in AI that is there in the market right now, that I think the time for that has come right now, right? And to what Sujay said, if you really go out in the future, I think in terms of immersive experiences and all that, it's just day 0 or day 1, right? If I may indulge, then I think those experiences are going to be more than just 3D. It's probably going to be more senses. Because
Yeah.
we have done few events which
Yeah.
involved multiple senses like smell and temperature and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And events will
100%.
probably start taking all that.
I mean, that's something, even when I teach at EMDI, I say when you reach a stage where we can tap on all 5 senses in a presentation, that's when your content will stick in the receiver's, or the consumer's brain.
Like I want to add one more thing. With the technologies coming, the new technologies and all that, there should be a proper training for the technologies. Now AI is there, but no one knows how to use that. So writing a prompt, but how exactly that conversation you are doing. So there should be training modules where the people are trained how to use the AI. So otherwise, there's no point. And it's all about user experience. So the hardwares are coming. The hardwares will come in future as well. But if you ask me, like if I have to wear a VR headset, I can't wear it more than 2 minutes. That's maximum I can wear.
Yep.
So with the new hardwares and all that, it is going to be much, much better.
Perfect. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm sure I would love to talk to you about this for hours, but I'm sure our audience also has a few questions. Do we have any questions for our panelists?
Hi, my question is to all the panel members. I'm just interested to know, after hearing the entire discussion, what teching up have your companies experienced? Anything game-changing we should know of? Any upgrades? And followed by how did you overcome any hurdles and all that? Just interested to know, as per your brands and companies, how did you make a difference in terms of tech upgrades and all that? Thank you.
So I would say for our labs, our biggest toy right now is volumetric 3D. So it's basically the hardware is a volumetric display that instead of pixels is voxels. It's 360 light emitting, which is scalable, which is a massive canvas, which is not an illusion to the eye, but is actual avatars or 3D objects that could be displayed within this display. And the game changer for us was the integration of NLP, where you could go and interact with an avatar and have facial recognition. It tracks and looks at you because of the integration of the Microsoft Azure, which defines where the interaction point is. So it's not a hotspot. It could turn and look at you and interact in real time. And the very latest deployment was, of course, our working with the Technology Innovation Institution and bringing Arabic AI into the platform. So that was something that was deployed last week at the GITEX in Africa. So I think that was a big game changer for us.
For us, we came in wanting to solve the issue of talent booking as a talent agency. So we built our company from the ground up based on technology to be a platform that solves the discovery process of artists within a certain country or area, the security between clients not paying artists or artists not showing up for events, and of course to create some price transparency in the marketplace. So the whole company is tech-based. To have this service available globally, where it lets anybody access this kind of experience, where to find and book artists that was only mostly reserved to event professionals. So we wanted to create a solution that just empowers both the professional people and the mothers at home wanting to do birthday parties for their children. And of course, since it's digitally based, it's only normal that the next progression for it is integrating AI and natural language processing. Like somebody just explaining what kind of entertainment they're looking for in their own words. Without being a professional, without having any prior experience in events. So that's what we strive for personally.
Right. So I'd actually talk about hybrid events, right? So we work with lots of event organizers across the globe, right? And you have a clear demarcation between organizers that get hybrid right and the others that don't, right? So few basic things, right? In terms of when you talk about hybrid, it's not just live streaming your event. It's about recreating as many aspects of your in-person event as possible online, right?
Correct.
So that's one. But second, in terms of operationally, right, the ones that are successful have a separate team for the virtual as well as the in-person, right? So they have very specific goals, right? And the third is not every hybrid event, not all hybrid events need to run their in-person and virtual events in parallel, right? A lot of the very successful organizers look at the virtual component as a funnel into the in-person event, right? So it happens before the virtual event, and then it gets pulled in over here, right? So the ones that get it right manage to reach massive audiences, generate more revenue, and I hope more people can do that.
Thank you to our wonderful audience and to our wonderful panelists.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.